Would you ever think a book written by Stephen King might have been written by Danielle Steele if you just read a couple of pages? Would you ever hear an Eminem song and think, oh, I know Shania Twain sings this? And would you look at a Kandinsky piece of art and think that must be a Monet? Welcome to AI and Ethics Creative Exploration, where we talk about the good, bad, and ugly of AI and how it collides with creative wonders. On episode 1, we're going to talk about creative voice versus AI-generated output. Is there a difference? We're going to talk about the one elusive thing that sets creatives apart from each other and probably from artificial intelligence too. Talking about creative voice is going to establish the mindset I hope to bring to people regarding AI and generative content. So let's talk about that creative artistic voice thing. What actually is it? I personally think voice is that magical it quality a person brings to their work. It's what makes their work instantly identifiable. You can see, hear, and experience the work, and that is to know the artist who created it. Now, of course, how far and wide your creation has spread will result in how well your voice is known. In creating our voice, we all have influences. Take me. When it comes to photography, Ansel Adams was a big influence for me. Purist black and white. He was such an influence to me that I even sought out getting some classes and being mentored by a person who had learned from Ansel Adams. You see, the influence expands more. Just because I looked at his art wasn't enough. I also learned from somebody who learned from him, and that made the influence bigger. For abstraction work, Kandinsky is definitely my influence. All of these influences play a role in my creative voice. AI can't possibly have creative voice, and here's why. It takes a decent amount of time to cultivate your voice. The experiences you have, the projects you work on, the tools you use, the learning you've done, the experimenting you might do. In other words, the process is what develops your voice. They're all experiences that we have experienced. And that's really the big key here. AI doesn't experience anything. It just learns. It learns words, but it's never actually done the thing. Have you heard that statement, how you can't really learn something until you've experienced it, or you can't really understand until you've been there? Well, AI right now, and for the foreseeable future, can't do that. So how can it truly develop its voice? Well, let's take a look at that. It's my theory that AI creates from many voices. The bots have gone out into the world of the internet. It has scraped all kinds of data and looked at pictures and been taught what words equal the next word and all of these big things. How many pictures are on the internet? Untold. Untold amounts of pictures are on the internet. So the AI has taken in everything. So what's its voice? I mean, I think it sounds like its influences are everything, but what parts of everything did the AI pick and choose to make it part of its voice? And the answer is none, because that's not how AI is trained. It's trained on everything. It knows everything. AI creates by many voices. That's what AI does. And right now, on top of that, AI has to be driven by a person, which means it might be a part of your voice, but it's not only that of the AI. I mean, let's think about this. You don't sit down at a computer just watching it, not typing anything, not doing anything, just sit there, watch it, and the AI creates a piece of art. That's not what happens. You sit down at your computer, you open up the website, you go to DALL-E, you put in a prompt, and then it produces something. And that something is based on all of the things that it has been trained on. That's not the AI doing it. So again, it can't have a voice because it's not the one driving. And let's not forget that to some degree, all good art is based on experience or emotions. AI lives secondhand and does not have those emotions. So how can AI actually have a voice? This was proven in recent times on Instagram when some of the programs like Midjourney first came out and they could produce these AI-generated artworks. At first, it was all the rave on Instagram. And then people started noticing something. They started noticing that all of the art looked alike. And they were really just seeing the same type of art over and over and over. It doesn't care how repetitive it is. It doesn't care how much it looks at the same exact thing over and over. In fact, that's called reinforced learning. We as humans like to see diversity and we like to see different things and we like variety. So, as humans do, they created a backlash against the AI art and it actually hurt Instagram for a little bit. The next thing I want to talk about is this idea of unique art. Unique art is a fallacy. I've started off as a purist black and white photographer. Just being a photographer even 15 years ago, the going joke was everything has been done. There is nothing that hasn't been photographed. And what you have to bring to it is something different because of your voice. You'd have to find a way to do it differently or better because everything has been done. Well, that's 15 years ago. Now, everything's been done 3 to 10 times at least, if not infinitely more. It doesn't matter if it's landscape paintings or fan art or watercolors or cityscapes or written works. These things have all been done. So what do you bring to it that makes it somehow different? That's really hard for AI to do. Let's face it, it's trained on everything. I mean, how will AI have an original idea? Maybe it will start to do these things later on down the road, but even then, it's still not going to have its own true voice. And if unique art is a fallacy, then why does one song stand out over another? The same can be asked about writing and visual artworks and every other type of creative thing, including creative design. It's because of voice. So yes, you can say the exact same thing, but say it in a different way, sing it in a different way, or paint it in a different way, and people will be hit differently by it. And that's what you, the creative, brings to the table. So what I really want to look at is just ask yourself this. Is AI just more competition? Is that why you're upset? Does it cause a little bit of instability for you maybe? That all could be true, and I understand that, but maybe we need to learn to lean into it a little bit more. Maybe we need to really think about how it could push us to be a little bit better, or how it could push us to evolve a little bit. Maybe it could be something we work with instead of against. How good a creation is or is not is in the eye of the beholder. Us creatives rarely have huge confidence in our own creations. We're not the best judges of our own work. Sometimes we think it's way better than it is, and sometimes we think it's way worse than it actually is. The fact is that we're just not good judges of our work. And that gives us a little bit of an insecurity thing or feeling like you're an imposter. Imposter syndrome is absolutely real. Do you think AI will ever have imposter syndrome? I think not. Good art versus bad art. That's in the eye of the beholder. My art is your garbage. And we have various different reasons why we like what we like. Even if you think about the things you like to surround yourself with, whether it be music or books or visual art, whatever it might be, there's reasons you like what you like. My best example is I love to read, but that doesn't mean I want to read every book. The Westerns, they can just stay at the library, stay at the bookstore. They're good for somebody else. They're not good for me. And that's because of just personal preferences. So when others take in art, we have to understand that they're going based on personal preferences. And those personal preferences are based on their upbringing, their experiences, their motivations, just their basic interests. I think when we understand that, we understand how we're more individual than AI is. And reasons people buy artistic creations of any kind fall into more or less 2 categories. I'm buying it because I as a person want it, and I'm buying it because it's something good for my business. If we think about what our market actually is for any of our creative endeavors, we can start to break our work down into those 2 categories and then understand what we bring to them. From a commercial standpoint, yeah, of course companies are going to want to save money. But companies also want to stand out from the rest. And I'm not really sure they can do that long term, leaning into too much AI-generated content. And from a personal aspect, well, I'll be the first to say there are some AI-generated pieces of artwork that I really like. But I also have a big interest in tech. I was raised to be interested in technology. And so for me, I find it to be fascinating and cool. Now, would that be the only type of artwork I hung in my house? Absolutely not. All day long, I will hang the works of artists I know and love. But to have 1 or 2 pieces of AI generated might be okay for me. There are people who like Western books. That's okay. I think that it's in those differences that we can all learn to be different and unique individuals, which is probably the biggest thing we have over AI. AI, by its very nature, can't be individual or unique. It's trained on everything. That's like putting you in a position where suddenly you know everything. Now, how do you choose to proceed from there? I don't know about you, but as a human, I might find it pretty overwhelming and pretty awful. So what is going to change? I think it's going to come down to 3 things. Some people will buy into AI. Some people will lean into it, and some will adapt and work around it. So for those who buy into it, if you're a creative, it can be the world's best assistant if you use it ethically and have good, solid standards for how and why you'll use it. As a consumer, I think it can be really good for some things, but I wouldn't want AI generated too much of everything in my world. Somehow it all sounds the same. And if you really get analytical about it, I think you'll say the same. For those who lean in and learn to adapt using it, I think we're going to find that we have more time to create, or we have less time that we have to be working, or for those creative businesses we have, it can take care of some of the parts we don't really enjoy. And that's to huge benefit for us, right? If we don't have to spend time doing the business side of it or some of the mundane tasks of it, we'll have more time to be more productive, to create more things that have a unique voice. And there will be some who absolutely say, I'm going to navigate my creative endeavors or business around AI. I'm going to advertise or sell myself as the person who does not incorporate it, and that you're getting 100% human production here. There's a market for all of these. Which one are you? And what affects you so that you make the decision you make on how you will go with this? And more importantly, how many ways can you say the human voice when it comes to creative endeavors is so much stronger or individual or niched down than AI? Because I believe that's at the very heart of what we're talking about here. And all day long, I think the human voice will win. I look forward to doing more of these podcast style videos, and I hope that you guys will join in on the conversation. Creatives are needed right now. We have to get our voices heard on what we think and how we feel about AI. And we have to make sure that when it comes to the ethics of how our work is being scraped or used or how it might affect our work, we have to be open and honest and forthright. If we're not, our voices are going to get drowned out. We absolutely need creatives in the AI discussion for so many reasons. And that's why I'm doing this. I hope you'll join along for this series. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and maybe very thought-provoking too. Until next time, happy creating.